What did the doctor say? I ask Uzma when she gets in from school. Nothing much, mutters Uzma. Typical Uzma. It's hard getting 2 words out of her these days. That's why I booked her the appointment with the doctor. I wish you'd let me or your bayi come with you. Nothing. Ugh. You know, Jamal says I worry too much, that she's just being a typical 16-year-old, but I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of pressure on him these days, you know, especially for Uzma, because she wants to go into medicine. I look at the clock and it's nearly 5:30. If I phone school now, I might just catch Mrs. Spellman, the head of year 11, before she leaves. I mean, look, it's Mrs. Spellman's secretary. She's going to put me through. Mrs. Spellman, it's Parveen Masood, Uzma Masood's mum. Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, I was wondering if I could arrange a meeting to come and see you. Well, I'd prefer it if Uzma didn't know that I was coming in. So I sit down with Mrs. Spellman in her office. Thing is, Mrs. Spellman, I say to her, thing is, I'm worried about Uzma. She's been so quiet and withdrawn at home. I'm worried that it's going to have a knock-on effect to her schoolwork, and she needs good grades to get into college. Mrs. Spellman looks uncomfortable. She says to me, we have spoken to Uzma about the possibility of college, and she said that college is no longer an option. Well, she can see I'm totally confused by this. I take it Uzma hasn't discussed this with you? No, she hasn't. And what's more, school have noticed that she's been quiet and she's been distant. And when they spoke to her about it, she said it were stuff outside of school. Well, what sort of stuff? I ask. Well, says Mrs. Spellman, we've had some new boys to year 11 and they can be quite vocal with their opinion. She's avoiding the issue here. You mean racist? I say to her. Well, all the rumoured incidents have taken place off school premises, so it's been quite hard to pinpoint. We have spoken to Uzma and the boys separately, of course, but they denied everything. Well, that evening when Uzma gets in, I confront her. At first, she denies it all. She said there's nothing going on. And then, when I confiscate her phone, well, it's a different story. It all comes out. Turns out it's been going on for months. These boys have even recruited kids from their old school. They've been clever about it. It's been subtle. There's been small references to her hijab and the clothes she wears. Well, why didn't you tell me? Oh, you bayi. Oh, that's it. First thing in the morning, I'm going down to that school to see the head teacher, and this time Uzma is coming with me. When I sit down with Jamal and explain everything, he just sits there looking at me. Finally, he says, that'll explain why she's been so quiet. Is that all he's got to say? I despair of him sometimes. You know, both me and Jamal, we were born and raised in Britain. We're 4th generation, and I'll be honest, we've never really experienced any sort of abuse. So this has come as a shock. Well, it has to me anyway. You can never tell with him. I just don't understand why she wouldn't speak to me. I mean, am I such a bad mother that she'd rather endure all of this than come and talk to me? Jamal says. Young people, they don't talk to their parents these days. They go on Facebook and they poke each other. I just glare at him. But maybe he's right. Uzma does spend a lot of time on Facebook. And then I remember, I still have her phone that I confiscated earlier. I take it out of my pocket and Jamal's looking at me and he says, no, Parveen, you can't. It's private. I just want to help my daughter, I say to him. Well, he says, it'll be passcode protected. It's a brother's birthday, I say to him. And then I'm a bit embarrassed that I know that. I overheard her say it once. So I put the password in and I'm in. Well, it's all modern and complicated. But I see the Facebook symbol, so I click on it. So there's months of posts and statuses on Uzma's Facebook. And there's messages going back months. Mainly correspondence with the same people. But then I found this one message and it said, I have literally no money to get there and I'm too young to get a loan. Please help. So I read the reply and the reply said, message us privately. Message us privately. What did that even mean? Then I thought, her emails. I need to check her emails. So I got on a laptop and it was the same there. Months of correspondence with the same people. And I thought, her internet history, that's what I need to check. So I went on and it says, ask.com. November, Uzma's question. Any advice on how to deal with racism and bullies? Well, there were loads of replies, all, giving advice. Some of it was sensible, some of it were not so sensible. And there was stuff on there about Islam and politics. And that's not Uzma. We don't talk about politics in the house. Jamal won't even have the news on because he says it's depressing. I need to get this straight in my head. I'm thinking, I need a timeline. But there's just so much to go through. There's Instagram and Twitter and something called Tumblr. I need it straight in my head. But it all stemmed from that one question, that any advice on how to deal with racism and bullies. So I'm looking through that again. And then I saw these links to websites. So I click on them and I'm looking and I need Jamal. Jamal, I shouted to him, Jamal, you need to come and look at this. Some of the stuff that Uzma's looking at, it's just not like her and I'm really worried. Jamal, are you listening? For once, Jamal speaks some sense. It's late. He says, and we're all tired. Let's go to bed and we'll sort it out in the morning. So I go up to Uzma's room, to give her a phone back. And I knock on her door. When she opens the door, she looks so little and pale. And I want to go in and give her a hug. But I stop myself. But that night I dreamt about it. I dreamt about all the posts on Facebook and the internet questions. And in it, me and Jamal, we're arguing about the best place to get help. He's saying it's the school's responsibility. And I'm saying, no, we need to go to the police or we need to go see a counsellor. And he just keeps saying, that'll explain why she's been so quiet. That'll explain why she's been so quiet. And he keeps saying it over and over and over till eventually the alarm goes and it's time to get up. I went to Uzma's room to get her and I knocked on her door, but there was no reply, so I went in and, well, she's not in there. And all her drawers are open and I look in them and they're all empty. So I look for a bag and that's not there. So I run downstairs and I shout, Jamal, I'm shouting for Jamal. And he's stood in the living room by the sideboard. The drawer's open and he just says to me, her passport. It's gone.